tensions between the EU, NATO and Russia are unsurprisingly very high at the moment. And there's one place where that runs even higher than anywhere else in Europe. And today we are going to be exploring the EU-Russia border town. And so this is Narva. This is Estonia. That is Russia. And there's the border. We're exploring a different part of Estonia today, and in order to do that, we need to first get to the bus station. So I'm at the tram stop. Well, it's really busy in there, so I didn't want to film. The bus station's really nice. They've got a cool little shop where you can grab drinks and some breakfast and stuff. I got some croissants because they're on a deal. But this is the bus station. So in this part of the world, Lux Express are the big bus company. You can get buses all over the place. So for example, that one's going to Riga. You can get them to Vilnius, to Warsaw, even to Russia itself. You can get them to St. Petersburg, Moscow. But today, it's just a domestic bus. We're going in now. Just like that, we were leaving Tallinn on our way to the Russian border in Narva. These Lux Express buses are particularly comfortable, and they're really widely renowned across the Baltics as being one of the best companies that you can travel with. And I'll show you why now. They've even got these TV screens in the back of the seats like you do on planes. They've got USB cords, they've got free Wi-Fi, there's little seat pouches, there's even actually a free coffee machine at the back of the bus as well. I didn't make use of this because it was only a 2-hour trip, but really handy to know, and lots of the Russian passengers that were in for a long day of travel were making quite a lot of use of it. And here's a map just to help you visualise that. We're going from Tallinn to the east of the country, passing through the lovely Estonian countryside for a few hours until we reach the Russian border city.
Russian Federation on foot. After passing both border passport checks, another Lux Express bus awaits passengers near Ivangorod bus station located.
Well, this is Narva. We've just got off the bus. They drop you off the bus right here by the border checkpoint. So all those over there, that is the queue for the border to cross into Russia. There's a nice Narva sign by here. And then yeah, that was the bus that I got in from Tallinn. So I'm going to go for a wander round. I'm going to see what there is to do here other than cross the border into Russia. Well, I've just come slightly away from the square because the square is just packed full of people waiting to cross the border. Border must open at a certain time. It's 10:30 now, and there's no one crossing, so it might be quite particular. The road bridge is currently under reconstruction, which is why all of the buses stop here. Everyone gets off, cross the border, and then you get another bus from there to St. Petersburg or wherever you're going from there, which I think is quite interesting. Does make it a bit of a faff if you're a passenger trying to cross the border. Not sure if there's any particular meaning behind it, but I'm quite in favour of more chess-playing men statues, if I'm honest. Oh, there we go. This monument is established in 2016 to commemorate the 100th birthday of famous Estonian chess grandmaster Paul Keres. So there he is. I did sort of touch on it in my video from Tallinn, but Narva is a bit of an interesting place. The population pre the Second World War was overwhelmingly Estonian, and quite passionately and nationalistically Estonian. The Estonian War for Independence started here in Narva, which is something to be proud of. But the population that lived here pre-war was then all displaced and removed, and was replaced with ethnically Russian population, which complicates things. and means that now, because that's not been changed, so the population here in Narva is 95% ethnically Russian still. Russian is the first language of pretty much everyone who lives in Narva. Estonian is not spoken very much at all. About 30% of the population have Estonian passports and Estonian citizenship, which makes things a bit awkward because you can't vote unless you're a citizen of Estonia. But only around 35% of the population have Estonian citizenship, because you need to be able to demonstrate a certain level of Estonian language to become a citizen. And the Russian population can't, because they don't speak Estonian, because they're effectively Russians, just the wrong side of the river. But it is interesting. Narva has been occupied by pretty much everyone you can think of through its history. The Danes, the Swedes, the Russians, the Germans, and now it is an Estonian city. And that is Narva Castle there. And that is Russia. That is Ivangorod Castle. So I've just come round to the river just to show you just how close the border is between Estonia and Russia. So there is Narva Castle. There's the Narva River, and there is Ivangorod Castle. Just the river's width between the two. And there's the border. There's the border walk that you can do if you've got all the relevant paperwork, which I don't, so I won't be doing that. But there's the castle there. There is the castle there. Obviously, to the local people, this border's less of a big deal than it is to me. They're just walking about, having their nice riverside walk, their nice sit on a bench, filming their TikToks in some cases, because obviously borders in this part of the world have been blurred for so long. It doesn't really make as big of a deal, but it is a big deal, because that is Russia, and this, where I'm stood, this is Estonia. This is Estonia. Estonia's in the EU, Estonia's in NATO, and Russia is very definitely not. It is a big deal. So Russia borders 5 EU member states. Russia borders Finland, Estonia obviously here, Latvia, Lithuania and Poland. But I would hazard a guess that this is definitely the closest that you can get to Russia in the border regions. And Estonia are pulling no punches when it shows who they're supporting in these conflicts. And Russia were slightly provocative the other week. They were broadcasting on the side of the castle by their Victory Day marches and parades, facing out towards Estonia. They were doing that on the anniversary of Victory in Europe Day. I'll show you what that was like now. To their Victory Day broadcast, Estonia put a picture of Vladimir Putin on the side of the castle with the words "war criminal." I'll show you that now as well. Stoking some tensions in the area, I'm sure, and provoking a few news outlets to discuss whether this would be right here, Narva, would be the starting point for World War III if Russia was to act and to invade Estonia. Estonia being an EU member state and a NATO member, obviously things could escalate quite quickly, but I think they've slightly blown it out of proportions, based on, well, what I can see here anyway. There's no real military presence on either side, well, not from what I can see anyway. The border is very secure though. This is the border. We're about to walk underneath it. The crossing between the EU and Russia. I mean, I'm trying to hype it up a little bit more for the video, but it is just a bridge at the end of the day. Looks like a strong current in there. I wouldn't fancy swimming across. Well, here's a little better view at the bridge itself for you here. It is for foot passengers only, and it's one of the few direct border crossings from the EU into Russia that is still open. Passengers were very slow, and they were going one by one, if anyone is particularly interested. Wonder if all those seagulls know that they're crossing borders. I tell you this now, I can't have been to many more scenic borders than this. Sun shining, glistening off the water, a little bit of a breeze. It's very scenic here on the edge of Europe. So apparently since the war with Ukraine started, there has been a sharp rise in the amount of locals in Narva applying for Estonian passports. Makes sense. The Russian passport is significantly trickier than the Estonian EU passport, and obviously there are connotations with being a Russian citizen that there aren't with being an Estonian, so it makes a lot of sense. Well, there's no hiding that we're in the former Soviet Union there, is there? It's one of the most brutalist buildings I've ever seen, and personally I love it. Well, I've come back to the big square sort of car park where the bus dropped me off. There's the Narva sign behind me. The queue for the border's not gone down since the bus dropped off, has it? Must be a very slow process. I've got to be honest, it's not something that I'd fancy doing. It looks like they're going to be there all day. It's been sort of an hour and a half since I went for a wander, and the queue looks just as long as when we left. Absolutely no idea how long that'll take. Hours if they're doing it one by one, which they are by the looks of it. The people crossing the bridge are only doing it one by one, so kind of makes sense. Well, lucky for me, I found the entrance to the castle is by there. So what you do is you walk straight past the border, and there's the entrance to the castle, because that makes all the sense in the world. There's not many other places in the world where you'd walk directly past the border checkpoint to go and visit the castle, is there? Well, would you look at this? It's absolutely huge in here. The whole town must have been in here, I think. Must have been a walled city, because this is enormous. There's the actual castle structure there, and this would have been all the blacksmiths and other medieval stuff that I can't think of off the top of my head. Well, this is a slightly different vantage point to the one we had earlier. There's the Estonian flag above my head, and there's the Narva River, and there's Ivangorod Fortress. Well, I've ended up paying to come into the castle. This is what it's like just inside the fort. They've given me an audio guide as well, so we're going to take a wander around for a bit, listen to that, and find out if there's any interesting information. Well, they've got an interesting little diorama of the city of Narva from, I think it was the 16 or 1700s. As you can see, pretty much everyone lived within the castle itself. And this is me climbing up to the top. I decided to speed this up because it took a few minutes worth of climbing and involved some quite heavy breathing from me. So no one needs to see or hear that. So I figured I'd speed it up. And once you get to the top, you can see a nice view over to Ivangorod in Russia. Okay, honest opinion, castle probably wasn't worth it. It was 16 euros to go in, and I was in there maybe 15-20 minutes. I walked up to the top there, that wooden balcony thing, that's where you can take some photos of. But to be honest, the view's not that much different here, and you're out in the open here, which is a little bit nicer sometimes. Right, let's have one little last look at the castle before I wander on somewhere else, maybe go for some lunch. Well, we're back where we were a minute ago. We're with our chess player, and I was going to grab something for lunch, but despite the fact that Old Trafford and Bro Grill Cafe appear open, there's no one inside and the doors don't seem to be open, so we're going to have to go for backup option. Change of plan, come to a cafe. Well, they didn't really have anything authentically Estonian on the menu, so I decided to treat myself and go for a chicken Caesar salad, which was particularly delicious and a ridiculously large portion. I think I must have had at least a whole chicken breast on there. Very good value for money, and I recommend it. Right, well, that's the outside of the cafe by there that I went to. Really really good. I would highly recommend that actually. If you're looking for somewhere to grab some food in Narva. It was pretty reasonable too. I think it was at 12 euros for that massive salad and a cappuccino and some water. So yeah, not too bad at all. I'm going to take a wander now. I'm going to try and find the church and then see what else there is really in Narva. It's very nice though, very green. Well, I'm not quite sure what this building is behind me, maybe like a factory or something, but it is massive, huge. Go all the way down to the next block to where the church is. Must have been a factory, surely. But they're redoing it. There's some signs on the wall by there saying that they're like regenerating it, EU funding and stuff. Well, there's an old building there as well. That looks like a church or something, maybe a school. But this is what the suburban bit of Narva looks like. Well, I've taken a wander back down to my favourite spot in Narva, but I've come to a slightly different spot. This is Narva Beach. It's like a little lagoon just this side of the river, but the water's freezing. There's a fella fishing by there as well. Well, there we go. That's not a bad view of the two castles there, is it? Narva Castle there, Evangorod Castle there, and there's the River Narva. Doesn't look too bad from here. Shall I make a dash for it? Shall I have a little swim? See if we can sneak across to Russia? No, I don't think that's a good idea. I've got my passport on me, but considering I went to Ukraine like what, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I don't think that's a clever idea, do you? Still, not a bad view. I'll tell you what, where the river's by there and then the sort of like lake beach is by there, it really does kind of feel like we're in no man's land and we're not actually in Estonia. I mean, we are, but it does feel like that. It feels like I'm kind of in no man's land between the two countries with these climbing frames and fishermen and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe I'm being silly, but there's water on that side, there's water on that side. That is kind of how it feels. It's quite breezy down here though, so I'm assuming my audio is a bit crap, but it is what it is, can't be helped. Water looks very clear down here. I don't want to fall in the river, but you can see right the way down. I'm assuming there's some Russian watching me do that up there in the guard towers, making sure I don't go for a swim. Well, I've been wandering around here down by the river, down by Narva Beach, without a care in the world, and I've just realised my train's in 20 minutes and it's an 18-minute walk away, so time to rush and say goodbye to the castles, because I don't want to miss my train, because they're every 3 hours. Not good. Oh well, keep an eye on the time when you're doing touristing things, it's kind of helpful. Well, the station's just down over there, it's within sight now. Could do with grabbing a drink before getting the train though, if I'm honest. It's a 2.5 hour trip to Tallinn. I don't think there's going to be any kind of concessions on the train. Could be wrong, but I'd rather play it safe and grab one. This is what this area is like. Again, very suburby. I'm hoping there's some kind of like snack shop kind of thing, like kiosk, that's the word I was thinking of. Some kind of kiosk in the station, hopefully, or even a vending machine to do. Right, snacks sorted. There was a little kiosk just opposite the station. The station's by here, and there's the kiosk. It's like €4, which is pretty good value. I've got a big Snickers, Coke and a water. It's only a 2.5 hour trip, but I am quite thirsty. I can see a train. I really hope this might not leave it. Oh no, it's some kind of like gas train. Must have just come in from Russia. There is a train bridge, and there used to be train services to Russia. They used to run from Tallinn straight through to St. Petersburg, but not anymore. And this is the station here in Narva. Quite a nice station building. Right, let's go in and see if we can get our train, eh? Well, basic, but pretty nice. The doors are like semi-automatic as well, though. Oh, here's our train. And this is our train. Not leaving for 10 minutes, so I'm not in a rush. There's no allocated seats on my ticket, so let's just hope it's not too full. And this is what trains are like in Estonia. They're pretty similar to everywhere else in Europe, so you get sort of 4s and 3s on either side, decent amount of luggage space if that's what you're interested in. All the seats had plugs as well, which is pretty handy too. Right then, all settled on the train now. It's just over 3 hours to Tallinn, because I'm on the slower train. The express one does it in like 2.5, I think, but it's pretty nice on it.
Lugupeetud reisijad, rong sõidab liinil Narva, Tallinn, head reisi!
Just like that, we are back in Tallinn station. I was actually quite impressed with the Estonian train today. Much nicer than I thought it might be. I thought it might have been a classic Eastern European rattler, but it wasn't. It was a really modern train, really comfy. Didn't get too busy until the end, until we get to those sort of rural stops coming towards Tallinn, which is kind of what you'd expect. But yeah, other than that, cheap as well. It was only 13 euros on that train, but I think it's about 15 on the express one, but it does cut sort of half hour, 40 minutes off, which is pretty worthwhile, to be honest. But so be it. That was the time train I was on. The bus was 15 as well, so not very much between it. The bus was probably a little bit quicker, but the train was worth doing because I quite like getting the train. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. Back in Tallinn now. Hope you enjoyed our little day trip that we did. Yeah, cool. Stick around. Cheers.